you probably don't need another marketing tactic. In fact, there's a decent chance you probably need fewer. And I realise that is a slightly strange way to restart a marketing podcast. So welcome back to Marketing Unzipped. It's been a while. And rather than come back with an episode about the latest AI tool, a Google update, some LinkedIn trick, or apparently a list of things you apparently need to start doing immediately, I wanted to start somewhere else. Because the more conversations I have with business owners, the more convinced I become that most businesses do not have a shortage of marketing. They have loads of it. They're doing SEO, Google Ads, LinkedIn, Instagram, email marketing, content, video, maybe even their own podcast. And then obviously AI has been thrown into the mix of all of this. There is activity everywhere. But ask one very simple question. Why am I doing all this? And I bet all of a sudden things become a bit fuzzy. And this is what I want to talk about today. Because adding another marketing tactic is not going to fix a marketing strategy that doesn't make sense in the first place. And sometimes the best thing you can do for your marketing is not add something, it's to stop. Look at what you're doing already. Work out what you're actually trying to achieve and decide what the next sensible step is. Because one of the things I find fascinating about marketing is how easily activity gets confused with progress. And I understand why. Activity feels really, really good. You can see it. We published 4 posts this week. We sent an email. We launched an ad campaign. We wrote 3 blogs. We've redesigned the landing page. We started using TikTok. There are things happening all the time. And things happening feels much better than sitting in a room asking some difficult questions. But being busy and moving forward are not the same thing. And you can be incredibly busy going in the completely wrong direction. And marketing makes this particularly easy because there is always something else you can do. There is always another platform, always another channel, another format, another piece of software, another expert or guru telling you that you are missing some enormous opportunity. And right now, it might be AI search. 6 months ago, something else. Next year, something completely different. And none of those things are necessarily bad. That's important. I am not anti-SEO. I am not anti-paid ads. I'm definitely not anti-AI. I run a digital marketing agency. I've co-founded marketing software. Oh, it would be a spectacular career choice if I thought these tactics were pointless. The problem is not the tactic. The problem is when the tactic comes first. And this is probably the simplest idea I'm going to talk about on this podcast, and also one of the things businesses get wrong most often. The order should be the strategy, the tactics. But most importantly, the business needs to be first. What are we actually trying to achieve? The marketing, then the marketing strategy, and then what happens in the market to help us achieve that. Then the tactics. What are we actually going to do? But very often we do these things backwards. Somebody hears that LinkedIn is working really, really well. That's great. So we need a LinkedIn strategy. Someone goes to a conference and hears about programmatic SEO. Now we need programmatic SEO. A competitor launches a podcast. Should we launch a podcast? Someone sees a company doing a great video. We need more video. ChatGPT releases something new. We need an AI strategy. And suddenly you have a collection of tactics looking for reasons to exist. That is not strategy. That's a shopping list. So let's start with the business. So before talking about marketing, we need to ask those boring business questions. And the boring questions are massively underrated. What are we trying to achieve over the next 12 months? Where does growth actually need to come from? Do we need more customers or better customers? Higher average order values, more repeat purchases, better retention? Do we have unused capacity? Are we trying to enter a new market? Are we trying to launch something? Are we trying to protect something we already have? Because all of those answers completely change what good marketing looks like. Imagine 2 businesses both say, we need to grow. Business A has loads of inquiries, but its sales team converts hardly any of them. Business B converts incredibly well, but simply doesn't have enough opportunities coming in. Those businesses do not have the same marketing problem. Business B might genuinely just need more leads. Business A absolutely does not. If you send Business A twice as many leads, you don't solve the problem. You've doubled the number of opportunities they're wasting. So yeah, we need more leads is probably one of the most common marketing brief examples. Whenever somebody says that we just need more leads, I think the next question should be, do you? Do you really? Maybe you do. Let's find out. How many leads are you getting now? Where are they coming from? How many are actually suitable? How quickly are you responding? How many become conversations? How many receive proposals? How many convert? You see where I'm going with this. Why do you lose the ones you lose? How many customers buy again? The questions are endless because the answer might be more leads, but it might also be your positioning is unclear, your website is confusing, nobody follows up quick enough, your proposals are weak, your sales process takes 3 weeks, your offer looks identical to everyone else's. People just don't trust you yet, or you are attracting completely the wrong people. Most traffic does not fix any of those things. It just exposes more people to them. And this is where I think marketing becomes much easier to think about. Instead of just asking, what marketing should we be doing? We really want to be asking, what is currently stopping us getting where we want to go? And that is a completely different question, because now we are looking for the bottleneck. Maybe nobody knows you exist. That's an awareness problem. Maybe people know you exist but don't understand why you're different. That's a positioning problem. Maybe they understand what you do, but they don't trust you yet. Now we have a credibility problem. Maybe they trust you, but the offer isn't compelling enough. Maybe they're inquiring, but not converting. Maybe customers buy once and disappear. They're all different problems, different strategies, and different tactics needed. And I think this is where businesses end up wasting an enormous amount of money. Not because they chose a bad marketing channel, but because they chose a perfectly good channel to solve the wrong problem. And there is another uncomfortable part of this. The marketing industry is financially incentivized to tell businesses to do more campaigns, more content, more channels, more platforms, more creative, more software, more just everything. Because you actually need to stop doing 3 things is considerably harder to put on a proposal. But sometimes stopping something is exactly the right decision. And I think stopping is one of the most underrated marketing skills there is. There are businesses continuing campaigns just because they've always run them. Publishing content because the calendar says Tuesday, paying for software nobody really uses, trying to maintain 5 social channels because someone once said you need to be everywhere. You don't. You need to be useful somewhere. Preferably somewhere your customers actually are. So before adding anything new, I would look at what is already happening and I'd ask 5 questions. Firstly, what are you actually trying to achieve? So not impressions, not traffic, not followers. What does the business need? What is working right now? Where are good customers actually coming from? What content produces conversations? Which campaigns generate profitable businesses? What keeps appearing in the customer journey? Sometimes businesses are just so focused on finding the next thing that they barely notice a thing already working. Question 3 is what isn't working? And importantly, why? And there is a big difference between something that fundamentally does not work and something that has been executed badly. SEO might not be the problem. Email might not be the problem. Sending an email every 4 months might be the problem. The channel and the execution are not the same thing. So 4, what have we learned? This is the question I think gets missed constantly. Marketing creates information, even when something fails. We want to know what's happened. What did people respond to? What didn't they respond to? What surprised us? What assumption turned out to be wrong? Because if a campaign fails, you learn something useful. That information has complete value. If a campaign fails and everybody immediately moves on, you have just paid for a lesson and completely thrown it away. Question 5, what is the most sensible next step? It's not the perfect step, not the 5-year answer, but the next sensible step. And this is an idea I keep coming back to, because businesses understandably want marketing strategies to feel certain. They want the plan, month 1, month 2, month 3. Then this happens. Then this happens. Then the revenue goes up. Lovely. Unfortunately, customers were not invited into that planning meeting. Competitors change, markets change, Google changes, tech changes, and humans, they behave like humans. And I think a good strategy needs direction, but it also needs the room to learn. You need enough of a plan to know where you're going. Then you start. You test things. You learn. You adjust. And ask again. Given what we know now, what is the next sensible step? Sometimes that means doing more. Sometimes it means doing something different. Sometimes it means waiting. And sometimes it means stopping something completely. That is not inconsistency. This is what strategy should look like when it meets reality. I think one of the most useful changes you can make is to stop treating marketing like a promise and start treating it like a hypothesis. Instead of, this campaign will generate 100 leads, try, we believe this audience has this problem, this message will resonate with them, and this channel gives us a sensible way to reach them. Great. Now go and test it. What happened? Did the audience respond? Did the message work? Was the problem important enough? Were the leads any good? What changed? Then make that next decision. That does not mean we should be avoiding accountability. It's quite the opposite. It means being much more precise about what we know, what we think, and what we are trying to find out. And there is far too much certainty in marketing, particularly from people trying to sell marketing. I also think this problem has become worse because there has never been more marketing advice available. You can spend 10 minutes scrolling LinkedIn and come away believing your business desperately needs a founder brand, a newsletter, a podcast, short form video, long form video, SEO, AI search optimization, paid social, Google ads. I can keep going, webinars, a community built, and probably a downloadable PDF containing 17 prompts. You cannot do all of it properly. At least most businesses can't. And you probably should not try, because every new tactic creates another thing that needs strategy, creative, management, budget, measurement, optimization, and the attention to do it. And attention is finite, and that matters. Because every time you say yes to something in marketing, you are quietly saying no to something else. And the question is whether you made that choice deliberately. Because there is something incredibly powerful about business. A business being able to say for the next 90 days, these are the two things that matter, not 12 initiatives. Two, and we are going to do them properly. We are going to measure them. We are going to talk about them. We are going to learn from them, improve them, then decide what happens next. That is not lacking ambition. That is perfect focus. Because most successful marketing is actually quite boring when you look closely. It's rarely one genius campaign. It is usually doing a handful of sensible things consistently, learning what works and gradually getting better at them. The spectacular stuff gets shared. The compounding stuff builds businesses. So if your marketing currently feels really messy, here's what I would do. Do not add anything for 1 week. No new channel, no new softwares, no new campaign because somebody sent you an exciting LinkedIn post. Instead, put everything you currently do on one page. SEO, paid, socials, email, events you may be attending or hosting, content you plan to create, your PR, whatever it may be. Then next to each one write, why are we doing this? What business outcome is it supposed to influence? What evidence do we have that it is working? And what have we learned from it? Then the uncomfortable. If we stop doing this tomorrow, what would actually happen? And you may find some things deserve more investment. You may find some things need fixing. And you probably find a few things exist purely because nobody has ever suggested stopping them. And that's so useful because good marketing strategy is not about having the longest list. It is about making better choices. So no, you probably don't need more marketing. You might be ready, but you need to earn the right to add it. Understand the business problem first, work out where the bottleneck actually is, look at what's already working, learn from what isn't, and then decide what deserves your attention next. That is the idea I want to explore much more in this new run of Marketing Unzipped. Less chasing tactics, more understanding why they matter, more psychology, more business, more experiments. Probably calling a bit more calling bullshit on things that deserve it, in all fairness. And hopefully every episode leaves you something useful to think about or do. Not 20 things, just one sensible thing. So thanks for listening to Marketing Unzipped. I'm Rock Curtis, and I'll see you in the next episode.